So, have you ever tried to use AI for your actual day-to-day professional work and you were just kind of left feeling underwhelmed? Well, you are definitely not alone. Today, we're going to talk about exactly why that happens and how this idea called context engineering can change AI from a fun toy into an absolutely killer professional tool.
Yeah, I'm guessing this sounds pretty familiar, right? It's a super common frustration. You see all the incredible things AI can do, you try to use it for your job, and the result is just meh. It's generic, it's shallow, and it just doesn't seem to get the little details, the nuance of what you actually need.
And look, let's be real here. The work you do, it isn't simple. It's tough, cognitively demanding stuff. You're not just shuffling information around. You're trying to make sense of all this messy, qualitative data. You're looking for those patterns nobody else sees, and you're turning it all into actual, coherent plans. This is where we could really use the help, and it's exactly where AI seems to fall flat on its face.
So we all go through this predictable cycle, right? You get super excited about the tech, but then you try to use it for real strategic work and disappointment sets in. We end up thinking, okay, AI is cool for writing a quick email, but it's just not ready for the heavy lifting. But here's the thing. What if that conclusion is just completely wrong?
And this right here, this is the core idea of this whole explainer. The problem isn't that the AI is dumb. Not at all. In fact, these models are unbelievably powerful. The real issue, the real reason we're all getting so frustrated is hiding somewhere else entirely.
Here's the problem in a nutshell. The AI has absolutely no idea what you're trying to do. It doesn't know your team's goals, your company's culture, or the professional judgment that you and your colleagues just take for granted. It's basically flying blind.
So let me be perfectly clear about this. When you get one of those bland, totally unhelpful responses from an AI, that is not a failure of the artificial intelligence.
No, it's a failure of the context that we gave it, or more likely, didn't give it. The AI is just filling in the massive gaps with its best guesses. And of course, its guesses are almost always going to be wrong because it doesn't know anything about your specific situation.
Okay, so what do we actually mean by context? Well, it's pretty simple. It's everything the AI needs to know so it can stop making bad assumptions. This isn't about writing crazy long prompts, it's about being way more explicit about what you're thinking and what you're trying to achieve.
So how do we actually provide that context in a useful way? Well, the good news is there's a simple framework for it. Just think of it as 5 essential layers. If you miss even one of these, you're probably going to get a pretty useless output.
Think of it as a checklist for your own brain. First up, the who. What role do you want the AI to play? Should it be a critical research analyst or maybe a creative copywriter? Second is for whom. Who's going to read this? Is it just for your internal team or is this going to senior leadership? Third, and this one is huge, is the why. What's the real purpose here? Are you just brainstorming or are you trying to build a case for a final proposal? Fourth, constraints. What are the rules of the game? Maybe it needs a super neutral tone or maybe there are specific things it absolutely should not talk about. And finally, format. How do you want the answer back? A simple bulleted list? A formal table? The whole shebang? Okay, I know this might all be sounding a bit theoretical, so let's make it super concrete. We're going to look at how using this simple framework can totally transform the results you get, even when you're using the exact same data.
Just look at the difference here. On the left, you've got your standard, kind of lazy prompt. And the result? A boring, generic list of topics. But look at the right. We added context. We told it who to be, a qualitative analyst, and why we're doing this, to find capacity gaps. The data didn't change at all, but the clarity of our instruction, it changes everything. All right, let's walk through a scenario we've probably all been in. Imagine you're staring at a spreadsheet filled with dozens, maybe hundreds, of these messy, open-ended survey answers. And your job is to turn all that chaos into a new competency framework.
Now, a typical prompt would just be analyze these survey responses. But now, using our framework, look at that context-engineered version. We spelled out the who, a qualitative analyst, the why, to inform a competency framework, and we even added a really important constraint, group themes conservatively. See, the AI is no longer just guessing, it's performing a clear, focused, analytical task for us.
Okay, let's try one more. Another classic situation. You just finished a whole bunch of interviews, you've got pages and pages of unstructured notes, and now you've got to figure out what it all means for training priorities.
Now, what's really fascinating here is the constraint we added. The normal prompt, summarize these interview notes, would probably cause the AI to jump straight to giving you solutions. But our context-rich prompt tells it who to be, a training specialist, and then adds that crucial rule: avoid recommendations at this stage. This is so powerful because it forces the AI to support your disciplined thinking process instead of trying to shortcut it.
And this really gets to the heart of the matter. This whole context engineering thing isn't really an AI technique. It's a thinking discipline. It's a human skill. It's about getting crystal clear on your own purpose and assumptions before you ever start typing a prompt.
Think of AI as a giant amplifier. It doesn't create the music, it just makes whatever you play louder. So if your thinking is sharp and structured, man, AI becomes this incredible accelerator. But if your thinking is all fuzzy and undefined, all the AI is going to do is amplify that vagueness right back at you. So when you get this right, you start to see the true value of AI in strategic work. It's not about the AI giving you the answer, not at all. It's about reducing the friction of complex thinking. It becomes a partner that helps you structure your questions, surface patterns you might have missed, and just lowers the overall cognitive strain of getting from raw data to a real insight.
This quote just nails it. We're all sitting around waiting for the next, smarter AI model to come out. But the real leap in productivity, the real breakthrough, it's not going to come from a more powerful model. It's going to come from us, from our ability to provide clearer, more intentional context.
And that brings me to the final thought I want to leave you with. The very next time you sit down to use an AI for your work, just pause for a second before you type. Ask yourself this one question. What crucial context am I leaving out? What about the who, the for whom, the why, the constraints, and the format? Because I promise you, the answer to that question could be the key to finally unlocking the results you've been looking for.